Very good morning to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Wednesday morning. The season's over, but the stories will just keep on coming with regards to West Ham United and what may or may not happen over the summer between now and when we kick off again in August time. You're going to hear an awful lot of rumour, an awful lot of stories, some corroborated, some completely false, all about the players that we're going to get, the players we're going to go after, the players that are staying, the players that are leaving, about Lopetegui. Of course, we now heard that Pochettino has left Chelsea by mutual consent. And we're already hearing fans saying, can we scupper the Lopetegui deal and go out and get Pochettino or even De Zerbi from Brighton? Well, look, as I've said about 2 weeks ago, the deal with Lopetegui is done. It's dusted. That's not rumour. That's actual fact. And he will be unveiled later this week, we hear. Probably later on, like, say, Thursday or Friday. So look out for that. But by the way, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that like button that's somewhere around your screen. Please do subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing to become a subscriber of this YouTube channel. And if you don't have an account, it's easy to set up a YouTube account. You don't have to put any content up. You just create something with your email address and then become a subscriber of this channel. Please, it would be lovely if you did that. So anyway, what are the stories so far? Well, on Monday, whoever watched the West Ham Weekly show, you know I talked about some players who were staying and some players who were leaving. I told you about Fabianski. He signed his extended contract way back in December, I think it was. And I also mentioned about Aaron Cresswell, who seems to be staying on at West Ham United for at least another season as well. Now, there's some speculation. I'll put that down for a second. There's some speculation that Aaron Cresswell didn't change his mind about staying at West Ham at the last moment. It's quite possible that we had he had an option of a 1-year extension on his contract as well, a bit like Fabianski's. It's possible that may have been agreed well before Lopetegui even agreed to come to West Ham United. I don't know. But it's a fact that both Fabianski and Cresswell are staying at the club one more season. But what about players leaving? And I did mention these players on Monday night as well. First off, these are the players that we now understand have left or are going to leave West Ham United. Fornals, of course, he left in the January transfer window. So did Connor Coventry. We heard the other day that Claret has signed permanently now for Monaco, who are going to be playing in Champions League football next season. But the three others that are there, Ben Johnson, Angelo Ogbonna, and of course, Ogbonna and Mubama, are all leaving the club. Now, let's look at them one by one. Johnson apparently is set to agree a deal to join Crystal Palace. We couldn't get him to accept another deal, extended deal at West Ham. Several offers were turned down. Apparently he wanted around about £60,000 a week plus bonuses, but for some reason West Ham didn't think he was worth that. It's a shame, really, to be quite honest with you, because we're going to have to go out and buy ourselves probably a right back that may probably cost us 40, 50, £60,000 a week to bring in, not to mention the fee that we may have to pay for him. So I think it's a real shame about Johnson not being able to get him to stay. He broke into the senior team in 2020. He played 109. He made 109 senior appearances for West Ham. He played in several positions, as we know, but primarily as a right back. And it's really sad to see him go. Next up, is Angelo Ogbonna. I think it's very sad. I think a lot of fans are going to be really sad to see him go. He's going to be 36 on Thursday. So you've got to say that his time has come and, his time has passed really at West Ham. But he's been a stalwart player for West Ham United. He joined in 2015 for a mere £9 million from Juventus. And he's made 249 senior appearances for West Ham United. Now, he did get presented with a Premier League milestone award after making his 200th league debut against Chelsea back in May. In the third of 4 consecutive starts for the Hammers, the former Italian international completed the full 90 minutes at Stamford Bridge. He left us with some great memories, especially that headed goal against Liverpool deep into extra time at home in the FA Cup in 2016. Like I said, I think he's going to be one of a few players that West Ham fans are going to be really sad to see go. Julen and Mubama is also leaving with interest from several clubs, primarily around the Championship. After an impressive goal scoring record for the academy, I think many fans, including myself, really thought that he would become the latest academy prospect to break through on a regular basis and make his mark in the senior team. However, it wasn't meant to be. Now, many would say that it's down to Moyes and the way he used the young player, and others would just say he just wasn't Premier League level. I think we're going to find out soon enough to see where he ends up and see how his career progresses. He made 18 senior appearances for West Ham United, scoring just 1 goal. We wish him well. I do wish him well. I really thought he'd be the sort of player that would really break through, but it wasn't meant to be. Now, apart from players, of course, there's an awful lot of backroom changes going on. I'm sure you heard some of the changes that happened on Tuesday, where a number of backroom staff started to leave the club. The first of which was the head of recruitment, Rob Newman. Now, I think a lot of us thought that Rob Newman would have left when Tim Steidten last summer. I think it felt like he was going to replace Newman Steidten, but that didn't materialize. And Newman has stayed another season, but he is now leaving, and he has been credited with having an input in bringing some of the players to West Ham over the last couple of years, like Paqueta and various others. Another backroom person that's leaving is someone that probably not a lot of us would know or immediately, and that's Jamie Osman, who was head of performance analysis at West Ham United. Now, Osman, he's been with West Ham United since as far back as 2011, when he was the under-18s and the reserve team analyst, as well as the first team post-match analyst for the club. He then moved to being head of performance analysis, as well as the pre-match analyst at the club as well. Now, we hear that Julen and Lopetegui's son, Daniel, has got a similar sort of background. And he's going to be joining his father at West Ham United. And it looks as if he will be taking over the role vacated by Osman himself. Now, Daniel Lopetegui has been widely credited with creating the analysis report on central midfielder Joe Gomez, which persuaded senior Lopetegui to sign him for Wolves in the winter January window back in 2023. Gomez was signed from Brazilian club Flamengo for around about £16 million, and now he's valued at, give or take, £26 million. Other people that are leaving in the back room are Kevin Nolan, Bill McKinley, John Heitinger, all first-team coaches with David Moyes, have also been released from their contracts in preparation for Lopetegui to bring in his own backroom staff. Now, it's usual in these circumstances when you have a manager at a club who brings in his own backroom team, normally their contracts coincide with the manager's contracts, and it kind of felt pretty obvious that we were going to see the likes of Nolan, etc., leaving the club. Now, with regards to Nolan, he spent 4 years as a player at West Ham United, making 157 appearances, 31 goals. And of course, he was captain in taking West Ham back into the Premier League all those years ago. He was appointed as assistant manager coaching role at West Ham by David Moyes in February 2020. And I would imagine that quite possibly quite a few West Ham fans will be sad to see the likes of Kevin Nolan leave West Ham. Who knows what might happen in the future? But right now, he's making way for Lopetegui's backroom staff. Now, we hear that Lopetegui's, he brings in quite an entourage. That's most coaches, most head coaches, most managers do at new clubs. And he's been apparently, Lopetegui, working alongside Tim Steidten to identify transfer targets ahead of next season for quite some time. He's also mobilized his backroom team and even has a detailed itinerary of the training for the West Ham squad, when they return from their summer holidays for pre-season. So let's see what happens with all of that. Right, what about some other news? Well, how about some international call-ups? As we heard on Tuesday, Jared Bowen has made the 33-man provisional squad for Gareth Southgate's UEFA 2024 squad. They're going to be trimmed down to 26 players, and many are hoping that Bowen will actually be part of the 26. He's likely to feature Bowen in some or all of the warm-up friendlies against Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is at St. James's Park on the 3rd of June, and against Iceland at Wembley on the 7th of June. Let's hope he manages to continue to impress and is on that plane to Germany for the Euros. Gareth Southgate will analyse his attacking team overall over the next 2.5 weeks before naming his final 26-man squad on the 8th of June. Hammer of the Year Bowen has impressed throughout 2023-24 season, finishing the club's top goal scorer by netting 20 goals in all competitions, equaling Paolo Di Canio's record in the Premier League of 16 as well, and he also chipped in with 10 assists. That is why he's in that preliminary squad, and I would imagine that he will also be in the final 26 as well. Other players that have made it into their international squads is Alphonse Areola. He's been included in the 25-man squad for the 2024 Euros this summer. The 31-year-old has been in fantastic form for West Ham throughout 23-24 campaign, featuring 32 times in all competitions. So good luck to him as well. Would be nice. I mean, he's usually the third choice keeper, but who knows? Be nice to see him get some game time. In other parts of the world, Lucas Paqueta has been named in the Brazil squad for the upcoming Copa America, which will be hosted in the US from the 20th of June. Because of the betting investigations against Paqueta, he lost his place in the international squad, but new coach Dorival Jr. brought him back recently. The Hammers, the West Ham number 10, will hope to add to his 44 caps and 10 goals when Brazil face Costa Rica, Paraguay, and Colombia in Group D. Now, staying on Paqueta, Manchester City, we know there's still an interest in signing Lucas Paqueta this summer. But as he continues to be under FA investigation about betting irregularities, there's a cloud looming over whether any deal will happen for Paqueta or not. Now, if you remember last week's show I talked about how his entourage, like his agent and his lawyers, etc., were trying to get the FA to either charge the player or drop the charges. And apparently there was a deadline by the end of last week, and that didn't materialize. So I think it looks as if the FA are holding their nerve. Now, Paqueta's entourage wants all of these charges to be out of the way before the summer transfer window opens on the 14th of June. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens if they still if those charges are still looming, or if the irregularities have not been concluded by that time. If he's not been charged, and if they haven't concluded their investigations and dropped the charges, it's going to hinder Man City or any other club in making a bid for Paqueta this summer. So look out for that. Other players that have made their international squads is Edson Alvarez. He's been included in Mexico's 31-man provisional squad, again for the Copa America in the US. The 26-year-old will link up with the international team following the conclusion of the Premier League as he bids to make Jaime Lozano's final list of 26 players for the squad itself. What about some academy players on international duty as well? Because we've got one or two being called up too. Under 21 striker Callum Marshall is part of Northern Ireland's 26-strong squad for the 2 Spain-based friendlies in June. And that's the senior squad, by the way. Northern Ireland will play Spain in Palma de Mallorca on the 8th of June before taking on Andorra in Murcia on the 11th of June. Marshall was shortlisted for the Premier League 2 Player of the Season award. He scored 23 goals in 21 games for West Ham's under-21s and made his senior club debut in the FA Cup in January. The 19-year-old striker has made 3 appearances for Northern Ireland, which included his debut in June 2023. So you can see he's very highly thought of at international level. And let's hope he actually becomes a regular at West Ham United in our senior squad next season. Another player, another young player that's been called up is Lewis Orford. He's been named in the England under-18 squad for the 2 Tri-Nations trophy fixtures at St. George's Park across next week. The under-18s team, who will be hoping to build on their Pinatar Cup success in March, host Northern Ireland on the 22nd of May before they face Morocco on the 26th of May. Orford has made 6 appearances for the England under-18 so far, including his debut against France in September 2023. So good luck to him. Now, one thing I didn't mention, which I usually do on the Monday night show, is our loan players, because we still had a few players playing. In fact, we've still got one more loan player who's going to be playing one more game for his club. And that, of course, is Flynn Downs. He was in fantastic form when Southampton beat West Bromwich Albion in the playoff semi-finals last week, where they beat them 3-1. Downs has made 36 appearances across all competitions for Southampton. They want to sign him permanently. We are going to be discussing, from what I heard today, apparently there's going to be discussions with Flynn Downs as to what happens with his future at West Ham United, whether we want to keep him or not. I'd like to keep him. I'd like to give him an opportunity to be able to sort of make a mark in the senior team. I think he's been one of the best players in the championship. And wouldn't we want to be looking at the best players in the championship to buy into West Ham United? And he certainly has been one of them. Southampton will face Leeds United for a place in the Premier League on the 25th of May with a kickoff at 3 p.m. And good luck to Flynn Downs. Another player who's finished his loan spell is Nathan Trott at Vagel FC. Continued a superb run of form in the Danish Superliga, with a 2-0 win over Hidori on Monday evening. They went up 2-0 up in the first 6 minutes of the game. Trott kept a crucial clean sheet, which means that they have secured their place in next season's Superliga with one great game remaining. Now, they look dead cert to actually drop straight back down into the lower league. So well done to him and his club. Saeed Benrahma is another player that was playing at the weekend. He helped Olympique Lyonnais secure a UEFA Europa League spot on the dramatic final day of League One. Lyon beat Strasbourg on Sunday 2-1. And most importantly, they bettered RC Lens's result, which saw them grab 6th place. Now, if you remember, when Benrahma went to Lyon, they were under threat of being relegated. They were in the bottom half of the league, not doing so well, but they've been superb. And Benrahma has been a main contributor towards their success. He actually he picked up an assist at the weekend for their first goal. So well done to him. But as we know, with regards to Benrahma, there's still speculation whether Lyon can buy him, because they've got an embargo on at the moment because of financial fair play, which they're trying to clear. They want to get him for 15 million. But it's going to be very interesting to see whether they can do that, or whether he's offered to other clubs. There's an obligation to buy. But if that obligation doesn't materialize, there's a possibility that he could be offered to other clubs, or perhaps he could come back to West Ham United and he could maybe make his mark under new head coach Lopetegui. Now, one bit of transfer news, transfer rumor, is a goalkeeper. Apparently, West Ham United are interested in signing Wes Foderingham following his release from Sheffield United. Now, apparently, West Ham are keen to throw an experienced keeper a lifeline, mainly for a couple of reasons. We've got Joseph Anang, who is at the end of his contract, who has been our third choice keeper, very untried, untested keeper, whereas Foderingham has got quite a bit of experience, and as a third choice keeper, might be a bit of a good call. You know, we've got Fabianski, he'll be turning 40 years of age during his last year of his contract. We've got Areola, of course, both fine keepers. But if either of them, or if both of them are out injured for any reason, it would have been a tall order for Anang to step into the fold. Whereas Foderingham could be seen as a safe pair of hands should both Fabianski and Areola out at the same time. The other thing, interesting thing about Foderingham is that he'll make up our homegrown quota. Because with Anang being in the team, I did suggest, maybe unfairly on Anang, but I did suggest that one of the reasons for Anang being in the squad is because he made up the quota that we need in order to make sure that the squad had the right number of homegrown players in it. But Foderingham, being experienced and also being homegrown, could be an interesting, astute alternative. Look, my preference would be to have maybe Christian Heggie, a decent under-21 keeper that was out on loan, maybe Nathan Trott himself coming back as the third choice keeper and giving a youngster a chance rather than bringing in Foderingham. But who knows? Right, that's it. A quick roundup of everything. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more coming up, so do look out for the shows. I will normally do them and put them out, these pre-recorded shows, in the mornings of the week. So around about 9:30 they go out, so do look out for them. I'm still planning to do a live Friday night live this coming Friday, so look out for that as well. Thank you for watching. Much appreciated, and I will see you all